What is going on, everyone? And today we're going to be doing something pretty cool. So I'm sure you've heard of ChatGPT. It's making a ton of rounds in the news right now. It's all over the place, like literally splashed on every tech news place, even in the Wall Street Journal and others. But basically what ChatGPT is imagine a chatbot on steroids. This was recently released from OpenAI, which is a company that's really looking to push the bounds of what AI can do. Really, really cool company. And ChatGPT itself is kind of a new take on how to create language models and how you train them to have better contextual conversations. So as you're talking to this program, this AI, right, it understands really where you are in the context of the conversation. Now, typical chatbots, kind of how they work is it's called Google calls it dialogue flow, but it's really, imagine you're talking to a chatbot, and you probably experienced this, like when you call into an automated number, and it's kind of, if then this, that, if they say this, move them here, but it's not able to kind of react in real-time context like humans do. And so ChatGPT is a recently released version of this. It is expected to get better over time. I'm not going to go into how it really works on this today, but what I want to do is see an application of it. And there's been quite a few people out there showing how it's going to impact writing or essays or even writing code. But what I want to do is see, can we use it to make a pitch, a product pitch, that we can then go and pitch live to a customer and get their feedback on it. Now, the topic for today is QA automation. And some background, like, I don't know much about it, right? It's not the sexiest topic out there, right? But why I think it's important is that one, as we're going into kind of this potential tech recession, being able to still push out high quality content, and then making sure your people are working on the most important things is very, very critical. When I say push out high quality content, I mean features, I mean code. This is software QA. And being able to automate a lot of that's really important. The more important reason, though, is that I want to know how much ChatGPT knows about QA automation. Like, who would train this generic, open chatbot to know about QA automation, right? So my hope is that, it will really push it to its limits. But let's jump right into it and kind of get started. So I've got a template deck up. This is a kind of a similar format that I use on a lot of my first call kind of pitches when we get them on the phone or we get them on a call, to be able to kind of run through the value prop and kind of the messaging. But if we look at the flow of the deck, I always start off with, kind of building that credibility. So, some slides on why Gigster is great and why we're talking here today. These will blow through in like a minute or two, but it's really like good leave behind material. And then we kind of dive into like the meat and potatoes here, right? I usually always like to start off with a bold claim about the product that we're selling or the offering that we have, because this is where you really put your flag in the ground and show that you have a strong opinion, and it's not just, here you go, what do you want? Like, you walk up to the table and say, this is where we stand, and this is something that we think is really important. And then talk about why QA automation is important, and this is general. This is not about what we're pitching or what we're talking about. This is just the facts. This is why you should be doing it if you're not doing it. And this is the incredibly important slide, because this is like a non-biased slide, right? Like, this is not toting the flag saying, oh, this is why Gigster is great, why I should do it. This is just why the problem in general is out there and why solving it is really, really important. And then how do you layer value on top of that, right? You say, okay, we've understood that there's a problem here and there is value in solving that problem, but this is that extra layer of value and how we help you solve it. And then how we might engage. So how does the process work? So what does it look like to do QA automation? A case study, an example team, and then the different engagement ways that we support, and then some next steps slides. So again, and then a bunch of like just random template slides down here. But again, remember, the whole point of this deck is to be quick. It's to be concise. It's to be to the point. The whole goal of presenting this is that we want to get to the next conversation. We want to get the next meeting. We want to get buy-in that, yes, they are interested. That's why we don't show pricing or anything else here. But it's really to get that next meeting and to kind of educate and provide opinions on how we think we can solve problems in the space. So, where we need to start with this, right, is that, so we have QA automation, title, we'll fix that later, but the offering name, and then going into the bold statement about the offering. And this is where we'll start using ChatGPT. So ChatGPT, this is the interface right now, right? So you're able to go in, kind of give a statement, and then it will provide something back. Now, again, I don't know much about QA automation. I know generally and abstractly, right? It's just automating tests so that you push out better code that's been quality tested without needing people to do it. But it might help to just kind of define it, right? So what is QA automation? Let's see what we have to say. Now, one thing to know is that like ChatGPT is a big, it is a big model, which means that it takes longer to reply than your typical like chatbot would. So it's not as responsive. That's just because it's going much more deeper, kind of into the neural net or whatever it's called. And I'll zoom this in a little bit. So QA automation uses software tools to automatically test the quality and functionality of a product or system. And maybe I'll get a little bit bigger. This can include functionality of website, wide range of products. The goal of QA is to ensure that a product or system of high quality and free defects, and to identify and resolve any issues as early as possible in the development process. So value here can help reduce costs and time required to fix defects, and also help improve the overall user experience of the product or system. All right, so this is good, right? Like I think this helps. Like there's already some good nuggets in here. So one is like we got value. So you know we can go ahead and put this back in here. What else do we have out of here? So it use software and tools and techniques to automatically test the quality or functionality of a program. Okay, so we got, so I mean, so one question in, and we've already got one bullet on the value slide, which is big. You know, the other, what I am wondering too is what is the difference between manual and automated QA, because it's obviously different, right? But like I want to see if it provides any like value props. Human tester. Speed, repeatability, accuracy. So these are really good, right? So this is kind of bulleting out some of the key differences with manual. And this is almost like an even deeper or bigger, like top level value portion, right? So when I look at our deck, I really like this kind of like format of something. So maybe we look to add in, and again, I've got some template things. We can kind of reuse. So we're going to put this stuff into here. Speed. Repeatability. Accuracy. Okay. Select all. Come on. Put some more. We got what, 5? Coverage. All right. So what we'll do next is do a little bit of quick formatting. Boom. Bold those. So what we're really saying here, right, is that it's kind of like the 5 whys of automated QA. I can kind of pull some of this. And down here we can kind of give a little bit of that description side. So the 5 whys. 5 whys of automated QA. So why should someone do this? Great value prop slide, right? Very to the point. Speed, repeatability, accuracy, coverage, and cost. Something that everyone cares about within their business. And then how automated QA is able to deliver on that. But what I'm looking for is like, what's your opinion of automated QA? Okay, kind of helpful, right? So still, I mean, still great material in here to use elsewhere in the deck. So it seems that there's another value one. Right, another value prop. It should just be like helps. Helps to reduce, improve. But it's not like a bold one, right? So we say that it should be maybe like, how does automated QA help improve overall quality of a product? Well, that's thinking. We've got a few more. So the value of us on top of it, how the process works. Like really for this one, what we're trying to get is these meat and potato slides. Like basically this one, and this one. This one's straightforward to like our business. So we can be able to layer that in pretty quickly. But let's see, automate can help improve all. So we're getting so from what I've seen is that ChatGPT is really good at like giving a list, right? Which is great in a proposal format. It's great for trying to find like that bulleted list items if you're looking for it, like something to be like justify this now. It's really easy to put this in and come up with something, which is great. So overall, automate can be an effective tool for improving the quality of a product system. So this is kind of bold. We'll go bold with this one, right? So you can say that automated QA is one of and this is supposed to be an opinion, right? So it's one of the best ways to, it's almost as one of the best investments you can make to help raise the quality bar of your product or system. It's not one of, but is the best investment you can make. Again, this is an opinion. This is one we want to come in strong on and say, look, this is where we stand. So we'll move this above here and come in hot and say automated QA is the best investment you can make to help raise the quality bar of your product or system. Why? Speed, repeatability, accuracy, coverage, and cost. Why is it important? Reduce the cost and time to fix defects and also improve the user experience. Helps improve the overall quality as I can identify and report early. What I want to do is see if we use this. Consistency, accuracy, coverage. I don't think so, but we're getting somewhere, right? The deck is, we're what, 16 minutes in, and we've got some like pretty meaty content here. Let's see. What's your opinion? Manual. So this says accuracy. Maybe like it is automated QA. Let's see what they have to say, bot. Okay. It's not a replacement. I mean, so that's a good part too, right? Is that it's not a manual replacement for QA. So if you're a business and you have a QA team, there's always a big fear of like you don't want to like come in saying that we'll replace them, unless of course they're not that good and the company wants them replaced. But it's showing that it supplements and it almost adds this superpower to your existing team, making them more efficient, allowing them to spread their time to other places, rather than just doing repetitious manual tasks that could be automated. They could be spending their time doing much more human type of problems, or solving those rather than doing something the computer can do. Is better suited for testing specific well-defined systems. I kind of like this, right? So if we had to do like a differentiating slide kind of thing, almost like a reverse automated. So I want to show that it's not a replacement. QA team superpowers. So, like human pictures are always great. It really kind of adds that level of just the human factor to it. So I want to show that these are like somehow getting, like superpowers. Power up clip art. Anyways, all right, so we'll just leave this in here for now. So the 5 whys, right? There's a difference between manual and automated. It gives your existing team superpowers. Why QA. Instead of saying why, we'll just say QA automation is important. Reduce the cost, improve the quality. You know, this is kind of my own stuff. You know, in order to stay competitive in fast-moving markets, you have to make sure that your people are focused on the right task, not spending cycles doing repetitive actions. Stay competitive is hot. It is hot. Is important. So we talked about test coverage. So like, why is improving test coverage important? So like my thought is, and like especially when you go into like writing, like when when you got a new product or something, you're trying to like put together the value prop. It's that you can kind of string them off of each other, right? So we talked about defects. One of the other ones had talked about, you know, increases code coverage quality. So you can kind of latch onto those and say, okay, this is meant here, but like why is that certain word within that sentence so important, right? So we could also say, you know, like why, like so for the second one here, it's like why is identifying reporting defects early in the development process important, right? Like why is that part important? And so you can start to like really build value on this stuff quickly without kind of have to rack your brain for a bunch of different ones. So we asked, why is improving test coverage important? It helps ensure the product or system is thoroughly tested. To test coverage percentage of a product or system that's been tested. Improve quality. Reduce risks. That's a good one too. Cost. This is a good one. Higher test coverage. So we'll put that one in too. This doesn't really work on where I like the bolding at, but we'll take it for now. All right, so reduce cost, improve quality, stay competitive, and give confidence in the quality and reliability. All right, so we'll mark that as done. This one mark is done. Boom, boom, boom. Value of, not value of, but like how do we help? So this one here, right? It's this one's like very specific to Gigster, but I mean this one would be, you know, but so I won't use. Actually, you know what? Let's see. Let's see what they have to say. All right, well, they know who we are somehow. But so this one's going to be pretty specific to us. But you know, basically for our sake, and I might not even waste time putting it in here, or we're not, right? We can build a flexible team that can scale up and down depending on scope and needs. We're able to automate very quickly. We know time's important. We produce stable, reliable tests so we can focus on doing more automations. Maybe. How else do we help? The other thing too is that so when we look at how to help, you always got to be thinking like, how will someone play this slide back to me, right? Like what would someone ask while going through this? So what you want to start doing, and the thought process is, what are some rejection areas, right? And be able to kind of address those head on or somewhere within this. And so the good part too is that if you're ever struggling in a slide to think about what content you should be putting on it, a great way to come up with some of that content is to think about how would someone push back on this, right? So like, one great one here, or like maybe even this slide, right? It's that, like, what are some common rejections to doing QA? What are rejections to doing QA automated? Or just do QA in general. It may not even be common rejections, but it's like why do businesses typically not do QA? Might be the better way to say it. Yeah. So if I'm here and I'm saying this is important to reduce cost, improve, stay competitive, I might say, well, is it expensive? Is it but like why is this important? Is the best this might be the one that gets the most pushback. So it's the best, I'm going to say really the best one, or we need to know why companies don't do it. We've got all of these which are great. Manual versus automated. It's not a replacement. It gives your team superpowers. Regenerate response. We might be on our own. And so this is a good one too, right? So this is why people don't do it. And then you and your pitch and what we'll do here is that we will address each one of these and say, look, this is why, this is how we help solve these. What are you at, 28 minutes right now? All right. So why do they typically not do this? I'm just going to do why we see firms, why struggle. This is one of those great slides too, where you'd be like, have you seen this in your organization? Like, does this resonate with you? Great slide for that. So we'll put 1, 2, 3. Just bullet these. Yeah, and I don't know if I like this slide to keep in, but it's, how do we help? So we want to be able to solve these. So lack of time or resources, right? What else? Our needs. We're able to reduce workload of your current team. We're able to assess and create automations quickly with few dependencies. we're more affordable, or not more affordable. We're able to reduce. We're less risk than hiring in-house resources. Because you hire in-house resources, I mean, that's like a 2-3 months process. You got to interview a bunch of them, you bring them on, you got them on healthcare, benefits, payroll, and you don't want them if they don't work out, or even if they do work out, but they just run out of stuff to do, then it's still in your books, right? So, you know, the value that we bring in this case is that we could do it without them having to make that happen. And I want to say something about, like, you know, working with Gixter is a turnkey experience that lets you get started in 7 days on average. You never know. Everyone's different. Okay, so that is good there. So we're able to explain how we help. Yeah, the background image, why it's important. Kind of just want to get rid of this too. So the best image you can make, 5 whys of QA, difference, why it is important. Maybe it's like what happens if you don't do automated QA. What happens if you don't do it? Kind of given those. We've already given some of the benefits, speed, that stuff. I want to say something. I want to say why, like what happens if you don't, right? And this isn't like a fear tactic, which I know that some pitches try to use. But it is that kind of like if you don't do it, or maybe you're already experiencing it, right? Like a lot of, I think that some, you know, like guides or textbooks will, like, you know, push to like put the fear in them of if they don't do it. I do not like doing that, but what I want to show is then give them like objective reasons on what happens if you don't, because a lot of times if you're pitching to a customer, they're not doing it, they're listening, they're not doing what you're doing, so they can really identify with those and be like, yes, I have seen that in my organization. So I like these increased testing. So we're just going to kind of flip these, I think, on their head. But I want to get a different format. What happens if you don't? So kind of like a life without automated QA. And there's 4 here, so we are going to create 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. We should have done this first. Okay, so increased testing speed, we're going to do the opposite, right? Decreased testing speed. Nope. Lack of accuracy. Testing accuracy. Reduce lack of test coverage, important. And then higher cost. Let's put these in. Yeah, so again, just as a heads up, right? Like, I don't know shit about automated QA, right? I mean, I know enough to be dangerous, but a lot of this is kind of real time. learning here, so you are seeing it for the first time. I only think I'm like some QA automation expert and I'm doing this for fun. Instead, I'm trying to get an idea of, you know, how good is this actual model, right? And will it work and pass the human sniff tests? So maybe get these a little bit smaller. These on. So decreased testing speed, lack of testing accuracy, lack of test clusters, and higher cost. And also, so it seems like a lot of these answers, right? Like it starts off, like if I think about how it's structuring, it's like putting that in there. So if you like look at these, it kind of always adds this in. Decrease testing speed. So we need to add like a little bit of the human flavor into this. So what I want to do is at the front of these is add some like thing that says like why is that a problem? So like slow testing speed means slower time to market with automated QA. You can test. There we go. Lack of testing accuracy. Right. So automated QA has to be very precise and accurate, helping to identify defects and issues that might be in this. So you know, like no one's perfect. When doing repetitious tasks, it's easy to make mistakes. Boom. Lack of test coverage. It takes a lot of time and effort to continually update tests for full coverage manually. All right. See, this looks. It's kind of space weird. This. Maybe this is where I start saying like. It's a bit much. Automate QA can cover wide ranges. All right. So I think this is good, right? So this gives like why it's important. This gives life without it. So when you're not doing it, these are some of the pain points that you'll see. How do we help? So we're able to go in and do some of these items, which is really great. This one will just appendix how the process works. How do you get started with automated QA? Let's find out. So far, very impressed. 40 minutes in, and we basically have got the full pitch that I feel like it's a pretty beefy pitch too, right? Especially for a topic that we don't know much about. I do think that there's a talk track within this that will land, but it will be up to our test with the customers to see. And can ChatGPT sell product? Mm-hmm. So while this is going, I think the way that I want to show this is thinking a similar kind of flow to this. But it'll be different phases, which we have 6. Six-step process. So you got 4. How do we squeeze in 6 to this? Actually, I think it'll work like this. Maybe. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like this. Step 1. System. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's fucking go. We're here now, so phase 1. So let's see, define tools and techniques. Plan and design test. Test. Create test environments. Spelled right, looks weird. Execute your test, run test, run, execute test, monitor and maintain. Let's see, this would be continuously, or like the whole process and team managed by Gixter to reduce your workload. I think this one's like really cool to put, right? So like give someone like context, like you are here, and this is where you are on the map. So this slide I think will hit works. We got test here. So that text is probably fine. Phase-based approach. Kind of breaks everything out, right? That feels good. I think that'll land. What I do want to put is this in here. There's speaker notes. Right, we definitely want to have that in here. Is there other stuff from there? Life without queue automated. So we'll just add some of this stuff in, and I should have been doing this as we go, right? So this is kind of helping me like keep track, right, of the talk tracks as we go through this. Since again, we don't know much about all of this. Why is important? Why is improving test coverage important? I don't really have that there. Accurate. We'll put this in here. It's helpful, right? It's kind of like, it's like stuff that's not on the slide, which I like, because then we can look like we're not just reading from it, so we can kind of refer to other material, right? Because the last thing we'll do is just like be reiterating this on here and be like, look, well, you know, Q is important because it helps you reduce, improve, stay competitive, gives greater confidence. You know, some examples of this is being able to be more consistent and be able to identify defects kind of, you know, early on, you know, accuracy, consistency, and coverage. So this kind of gives you that beyond, right? That how do you pitch a little bit beyond? You always want to pitch a little bit beyond what's on the slide. Don't read from it directly. It's the worst, like worst thing you can ever do is sit there and be like, well, manual versus automated, yada, yada, yada. Like that's terrible. Like that is the worst. So we got some of these. So there are key difference between manual and automated QA. A lot of these are the same, but again, what we want to be able to do here is pitch beyond the slide. Very, 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 very important. So we'll just format this stuff. Boom, boom. So we'll mark this slide as done. I kind of wish this was like had some more pizzazz. But that's just design. How it works, phase-based approach. This we're no longer using. Case study I'll add in after this. Example team. What does a automated QA team look like? While that's thinking, we'll have that in there. The ways that we support. So this is Gixter specific slide, but again, you know, this one's kind of pre-baked. Next steps is pre-baked. So all that's left to add in is the case study and our example team, which if we're looking at this, right? And this even gives the responsibilities, which is huge. Perfect. QA engineers. Responsible for design and implementing QA test. Boom, QA analyst. Managers. It's more like a project manager, right? We'll see that. And we'll do optional. Actually, we'll just delete this. And we'll expand this. All right, this is our example team. All right. Anyways, we got to fix that formatting. All right. So the deck is together. Let's run through it pretty quickly, right? So if we want to give you the pitch, hello. Thanks for taking the time to chat today. Would love to go through and find and talk about some ways that we can make your business more efficient, right? As we're heading into a potential tech recession and into next year, you've got to stay competitive and making sure that you have people working on the right task and not repetitious tasks that is gobbling up high value time is very, very important, right? And it's even more important now, going into 2023, and especially as you start to plan for it. So I want to give you a quick run through of kind of Gigster, just really fast, and then start talking about a very, very interesting problem that we can solve around being able to raise that quality bar for the products that you put out to market. So Gigster itself, we've been around for about 10 years now. We've worked on all types of tech for a number of years now. We've done over 5,000 deliverables. We've got this really interesting model, right? Around we're a data company, basically. And we apply our data and our metrics and our AI and our models to be able to run teams more efficiently, especially to build against projects that are high value, right? That companies need to get done, but necessarily don't want to hire for. This is a lot of emerging tech areas, AI, ML, blockchain, IoT type stuff. But it's also, we see a lot of use when teams are under pressure, right? And they need some elasticity to be able to work real quickly and be able to add to that horsepower when they can. And that's where we've been growing quickly over the past 10 years doing that. We've worked with a bunch of brands in that time. Some of these you might recognize. But really, at the end of the day, why people come to us, right, is that we're able to move fast, we are able to put together great teams, and that we can assure delivery, right? So we can help you reduce risk, and you know what you're getting at the end of when you work through things with us. So let's talk about QA automation, right? When I talked about reducing increasing efficiency of your team, one of the places that we see a lot of companies don't do that, or where a lot of companies can do better at unlocking that level of efficiency, is through automating their QA. And it is really what we've seen as the number one investment that you can help to also raise the quality bar of the output of your team. So there's a lot of things that you can do. I'm sure you've read about some, or you might be trying some right now. But the one that we see as the number one investment is investing into QA automation, because it runs while you sleep. It provides that value back when people aren't even around. So you can think of it as that kind of concept of making money while you sleep. This helps you raise quality while you sleep. And there's 5 whys to it, right? And I'm not going to go into them into here, but you can really see that these are all things that we know, and I'm sure that you would agree are important within a business. And this all drives back to how do we increase quality of the products that we push out, or that our customers push out. And there is a big difference, right? You might be doing manual QA right now. You might have some level of automation. But the big misconception I think that people have is that this is just going to come in and wipe out all of the testers that you have, right? Or it's going to completely wipe out the whole process. And that's just not the case. But really what it does is it gives your team superpowers. And what I mean by that is that there are a lot of these kind of repetitious tasks that your team is doing every single day that can be automated, which means that you can repurpose them to fix what we call like the human problems. And these are tough problems that an automated system can't solve, but it does take a human to do. And when you unlock that extra bandwidth of your team, you can do some really incredible things. And this is really, really important, right? Like to be able to help reduce costs, improve quality, and really stay competitive, right? You've got to be able to move quickly and know that as you're pushing product out there to leapfrog the competition, that it is high quality and that users aren't going to, have a poor experience, which may allow them to leave and you lose them to a competitor. And we see companies that aren't doing QA. Really, this is 4 big pains that they all have, right? They end up burning extra cash, meaning that as all of these bugs and stuff go out into production, there's fire drills, there's pulling in people for overtime. It really gets tough. There's no test coverage. The accuracy isn't there. I mean, as great as people are, when you're doing something over and over and over and over, there is a very high probability that you will miss something, but automated tests don't. And how do we fit into the whole equation, right? So the way that Gixter is able to help is that what we want to do is be able to unlock that bandwidth for you quickly, but we want to reduce dependency on your team. And that's the big part. Like, we're not here to just send you bodies where it's like, great, this is cool, Corey, but like, I'm already strapped for time. I can't manage new people. That we don't want to do. So the way that Gixter works is that we do provide these fully managed teams, and not just managed teams, but a managed process. Like I said, we've done this a number of times before, and we know where the pitfalls are. We know what not to do. And by bringing not just that kind of like process, but also the methodology and wealth of experience that we have in this space, we can help kind of reduce risk, but also be able to crank out this stuff quickly. The ideal way is that we get a team up and running in less than 7 days. And then we work through this process, a phase-based approach, to kind of go through and look at what you have existing, like what do you currently have, and then start to map out how we solution against that, what tools, what we might need, what's going to make this easier for you to maintain in the long run, which also gives this the most legs and scalability as your product will inevitably grow. And then from there, we move into building test environments, actually running and executing and building the test. And then it is very important to maintain, right, those over time and monitor those to understand, like, are these tests failing more frequently now? Are they failing less now? Like, maybe you can use this as a lead and lag metric to understand how your engineering team's performing as you start to set, wildly important goals for the next year. So again, these tests aren't just about, did this one little thing pass? You can actually abstract this out a much higher and use these as instrumentations and key signaling functions to know how your broader engineering team is working, which is really, really cool. And we've done this before. This is a case study here that we did with XYZ. We were able to turn this around in like 7 days. We had the team up and running, I think 7 days, might have been 4 days. And we're able to get test coverage out. Now from there, they've seen the number of like bugs that get pushed to production reduced by 60%. They've increased their bandwidth within their engineering team by 25%. And you can think about what they can do with all that extra work. It's allowed them to move much faster. A typical team that we see, right? I've got 4 listed here on the QA side, right? Like it's the engineers who actually write and implement the test. The analysts who analyze the results and see the performance and how to like tweak those tests. Like, not every test is created the same. And then obviously the manager who oversees the process, kind of like a project manager. And number 4 that I have in here, when I talked about reducing the dependency on your team, like when you write these tests and they find bugs, someone needs to fix them, right? And we can help support fixing them, or we can kick them back to your team. But this is something that we like to show as optional, because once we get in there, we do have a lot of clients end up being like, great, you found the problems. Can you please fix them now? Like, our team is already, 4 sprints ahead. We need you to help fix these. So we are able to support there. And how we're able to come in and do this, right, is kind of 2 ways. Is one, like if we just want to get rolling, right, and just get moving down the process, we can do this, what we call team on demand, where we put together the team of experts that you saw on the previous slide. And then we just start burning, right? We just start running. We get off and going. Like, that's if speed is important to you, buddy, let me tell you, this is the one you need to do. If speed isn't important, but what you are looking for is a better like budgeting way to basically say, I want to know what I get by a certain day and what the price is going to cost. We can do this fixed bid engagement where there is no surprise cost. It takes a little bit more upfront of mine and your team's time to understand kind of what that scope is, and then we put together a proposal for you. And as we talk about next steps, right? If this approach looks good, where we are in this graph is currently we're right here. And then from here we get started. But there are a couple little paperwork things that need to get done next. So if this all looks good, if you have any other questions, we can come back with a proposal. And we'd love to chat again and bring in one of our solutions engineers to discuss a little bit further. And then from there, contract team, and then we really get off to the races. And as you can see, depending on your schedule, we can move incredibly quickly against this. So let us know, and it's a great time, but I would love to get your feedback on this and see if you think that, creating and raising the quality bar of your product and making your team become more efficient is important to you. Is it? and boom, and now we get feedback and let them talk, and that is that. So all in all, I think it flows really nice. If I were to be using this deck to send around, it's good because you can like pull some of these slides out into one pagers, right? So good lead behind material. This feels a little meaty up front, but I think we move through it quick. So the deck plays and flows nice, which is good. This is good. 5 Whys, man, on it. That is important. Life without it. How do we help? This needs to get designed, I think, a little bit more. I know that I've got some other templates that just kind of shows, but overall, like that talk track, I think lands pretty well, right? And again, this is about 40 minutes, robust content, like very well informed, opinionated, processes in there, all thanks to ChatGPT with their ways to go. So next up, we will be pitching this to a customer to see how it lands. This will be a prospect, and we'll do it and record it. We'll probably have to blur out their face or something, but we'll see what we can organize from that standpoint. But otherwise, thank you for checking this out. And check out ChatGPT. We'll put the link down and below. And this was fun. We'll probably do some more of these. But if not, enjoy the rest of your day. And it is currently December 20th. So also enjoy your holidays. And with that, Keith, let's roll the outro, brother.